Well, good evening, welcome to Rangers Radio. Join myself, Hawkshire, on the show tonight is the one and only Jaffa. And Billy, how we doing, gentlemen?
Hi, Hawks. Good evening, Billy, brother Billy, of course. Great to be on again on the Rangers Radio.
Good evening, Hawks. Good evening, Jaffa. Looking forward to the show, mate. Good evening, everyone.
How are you, Billy boy?
Aye, no bad, mate. No bad, buddy. Just looking forward to having a wee chat about the Bears, mate.
Listen, did you get my begging letter, mate? I can't take any more of this Southside Super 6. I'm broke. No comment, Billy.
The big man's costing the boys your fortune, I'll tell you. Oh, to be fair, I think he done no bad with his 2.5 goals, mate. I think he got, what, they get 4 right out of 6?
4 out of 6, mate. I'd run that right up to the end, mate. That was still live right up to the end, mate. His other bet, well, don't go into that. Right, how are you, Jaffa?
Oh, brilliant, Hawks. I'm just battling my way through these bloody Valentines I've got here.
All right, did you get my card?
I got it. Thanks very much, sweetheart.
Did you get the picture with Spain in it?
But I know you've got duplicates, I'm no doubt.
Oh dear, that seems a long time ago, Jaffa.
Oh, hey, I'll tell you, I can still feel that. I can still feel that sea breeze, Hawks. In that hotel, it was magic times.
Right, Billy, get it off your chest. Sunday.
A feisty cup tie, was it, no, mate? I thought we didn't play well at all, mate, in the first half. I thought we were lacklustre, powder puff. I thought we made too many changes, mate, and I think it disrupted the team, and it certainly showed in the first half, mate. If it's no broken, then try and fix it, Hawks.
I get where you're coming from. Cholak, Hadji, and that no fit. The new boys coming in. You know, you can't really criticise them, Jaffa.
No, I thought Raskin had a good game, Hawks. I thought he came into the game certainly, but yeah, he did. Cantwell, I think he was kicked off the park. But I agree with Billy. Yeah, that was my take on it. Too many changes. Not even so much too many changes. The boys he brought in weren't fit. Hadji wasn't definitely, nowhere close to being fit. Probably didn't really merit a start, I don't think. And I hate to say it, Ox, but I think Michael Beale maybe moderately underestimated Thistle a wee bit. And I don't know how many warnings we need to get with games like that. What do you expect? Thistle have got absolutely nothing to lose. For most of those players, that's the biggest highlight of their careers. They're going to run their guts out. They're going to put in every ounce of energy into it. And I don't understand why this isn't the first time we've done this, where we've underestimated these games, these cup ties. And incidentally, what annoys me about that, to be honest, Ox, is the Scottish Cup, we're the defending winners of it. We want to win it again. We all want to be at Hampden come May. It's an absolute must.
Yeah. Well, the draw was kind to us, Billy. Yeah.
Aye, Raith Rovers at Ibrox, mate. That'll do me, mate. That'll be a good game. I'm sure Raith Rovers will come down, mate, and they'll have a go as well. They've got nothing to lose, mate. It's a quarter final of the cup, mate, and they'll come down to Ibrox and they'll give everything to try and get past us. But I'm sure if we're up to it, mate, we're up to what we can play, mate, in the way we normally play when we want to play, mate. We'll be right enough, and I can see we shouldn't be too concerned, should I say, mate, about getting into semi-final.
No, I agree, mate. I agree. But I must admit, it's one of the few teams I've ever cheered to a cup victory at Ibrox is Raith Rovers.
Aye.
Gordon Dale.
Anyway, right. Can you put your finger on it then? I'll go you first, Jeff. I'll give you a bit of time to think, Billy. Put your finger on it. Is that what you're saying? Just we underestimated them, we.
Combination of
arrogant. What do you think, Jaffa?
Combination, yeah. I think that primarily. I think we underestimated them. I think the fact that we've made a couple of changes of players that weren't fit. You could see they weren't fit. The defence with James Sands. I think James Sands. I think there's a player in there. I'm not sure whether Golson's carrying an injury or not. He was just getting rested. again, I think that exposed Ben Davies a wee bit, and he was getting caught, and we were getting pulled apart at the back line. But the first half, Hawks, to not get a shot and goal for almost 39 minutes, that's not acceptable at Ibrox. Not any time, but it's definitely not acceptable in a cup tie. And I think it was just a combination of factors. I think Michael Beale's got to take. I think he did admit that he probably got some things wrong. You know, and by bringing Kent on at half time, and I can't remember who else was it he brought on. Ruth, yeah, in the second half.
I don't think he looked fit, mate. He looked miles up it.
Aye, he didn't again, Ox. He ran about a bit, but he didn't contribute an awful lot. He needs match. I get these guys need match fitness, but for me there was too many changes, Ox, and I think that's what caused the issues.
Here's my theory on it, Billy, and I've said this before. I get it. With the 9 subs, you can have people on the bench, and if you get a chance, you bring them on. But players shouldn't be getting their match fitness in the Rangers first team, Billy.
Aye, that's a good shout, Ox. Aye, that's a good shout, mate. But as I said, mate, we done. I think that was the main problem, mate. Michael Beale, he's obviously come out as Jaffa said there, mate, and he's put his hands up that he's made a few mistakes there, and it showed, mate, in the team selection, and with the players not being up to speed, mate. I mean, I'm off. We've spoken about it in the show a few times as well about trying to get a settled 11 on the park. Right now, if we get a settled 11 on the park, mate, I want to see that settled 11, especially when we're winning and winning well. I want to see that same starting 11 starting the next game, mate, because it's okay. People can say, well, we can get the new signings in and we need to give them game time and blah blah blah, and I get that. I get that as well. But it's up to the guys on the touchline to push the guys on the park who's got the jersey, mate, to try and knock them out that starting position for them to get that jersey. So, as I said, mate, that definitely upset the apple cart for me, mate. With too many changes in different positions, and players just not really up to match speed, mate.
All right, mate. All right. Right. Penalty. Simple. Yes or no. Patty's on. Penalty kick. Yes or no, Jaffa?
Never in a million years, no.
Yes or no, Billy?
No chance.
No, I agree. I seen it was a referee. Seen it's the first day as well. Right, so we go 1 down, as we said, we've discussed. And then we come out the second half and he gets a decent goal. Good to see the boy Raskin involved. 1 each, then we gets a penalty. I gave my views the last couple of nights. Did you think that was a penalty? Jaffa?
No, never.
No. Billy?
No, I didn't think it was a penalty either, mate.
No, I agree, mate. So then, the big incident that's went nuclear, the praise we're getting all over the world for the sportsmanship is the term used. It was a bizarre incident, and let's no mistake, I think there's a red card on it, and I might have looked at it, Jaffa. But
I think it was a red card. Yeah.
The way he's moved his leg, and then the incident happens. Personally, I don't think Tillman done anything wrong. I'll be interested to get you two gentlemen's thoughts on it, Jaffa.
I don't think Tillman done anything wrong at all, Ox. As I was watching the game, when the incident was unfolding, I at no point thought they were going to give the ball back to us. The way that defender, I know he took about 3 or 4 touches to get the ball onto the carpet, but I thought Tillman had every right to go for it. I still stand by it. I don't think we should have done what we done. I think that could have been proven to be very costly. I don't think Malik Tillman done anything wrong at all. I think, in actual fact, it's taking the shine off what was an absolutely brilliant goal. I think the lad, for a whole variety of reasons, I think a multitude of players, and I think with the Thistle reaction from the players, because he took the ball off him and went through and drove into the defence and scored, I think you can tell with their reaction that they had no chance. We were conned there, in my opinion, Ox. We were conned.
Billy?
Aye, mate. I'm echo Jaffa there, mate. I'm in Big Tillman's camp in this one, I know. First and foremost, I think that Big Tillman didn't really see what was happening. And the guy who's the Partick Thistle player who's threw the ball back into play, when that ball goes back in, when he's threw the ball, that means the ball is deemed back in play, right? So he's threw it into the guy. The guy could have actually threw the ball up the park to the Rangers players, or he could have threw it back to his goalkeeper for his goalkeeper to take a touch and kick it back up the park. Right, he threw it back to the Partick Thistle player. The guy said 3 touches on it, and Tillman is well within his rights because the ball's in play, and he's went down to shut him down. Robbed him with the ball. Brilliant bit of skill. Took it round the players, made an absolute fool of 2 or 3 of them in the box, and then he's put the ball in the back of the net. And to be honest with you as well, the guy's hanging out of the tap him. I thought it was bang out of order, and how VAR never had a look at that, because if you lift your hands to a footballer on the park, it's a red card. Right now, the guy shoved Big Tillman right. He shoved him at the boy to the ground, and then the 3 of them have been right out of the tap him. I thought it was a terrible scenario, mate. It was just stinking, Ox. It was just stinking, mate. But fair play to Big Tillman. I've got the big man's back in this one, mate.
I don't think anybody said he's done anything wrong. And then, so the manager's seen what he's seen. He spoke to the captain. He's agreed that there's been a mix-up, breakdown. And by the way, you've seen everything that was wrong with Scottish football in that incident, Jaffa, when you watched the big centre-half's touch. It was atrocious, wasn't it?
Oh, it was bogging. It was. I mean, listen, Thistle did. They deserve a lot of credit. They made a game of it, and incidentally, what they did, where they also deserve credit is it was great to see an away support actually come to Ibrox and fill a corner. A bit of atmosphere, exactly, Ox. I mean, we look at the amount of Premier League teams that we get coming to Ibrox. The other week there at Raith Rovers, I think they had something like 118 fans there. I mean, absolutely terrible, supporting your team.
But Joyster don't even get the fans to go to the ring run.
But Ox, I mean, for me, it was I think the big guy got out of jail. The big fella there was no way he was putting that ball back to us. He wasn't going to do it. I agree with Billy. He could have thrown it to us. He could have, the guy. He could have just took a volley on it and booted it back to the Rangers end, to the Rangers side. He wasn't going to give the ball back. And incidentally, I don't even think they understood what had went on, who had put the ball out. I think they just carried on with play. It was a totally misunderstanding, and I think we were conned to a degree. I wish they hadn't have done what they done, because if that had went wrong, my word, you wouldn't hear about that for many a year, I'll tell you.
Aye, but it's done now. We moved on. We got through. And we play Raith Rovers in the next round, Billy. That's it. That's what the history books say.
That's right, mate. Cup tie's a cup tie, mate. It's a one game. 2 teams going ding dong. Doesn't matter if you play silky football or play the worst football you're capable of playing. It's all about getting into the next round of the cup auction. You correctly said, mate. It's Raith Rovers in the quarterfinals of the Scottish. Bring it on.
Yeah. Right, okay. At 8:30 tonight, we'll be making a wee announcement. We'll get the drum roll and all that ready. Wee announcement. Top secret. 8:30. Is that all right?
Sounds good.
Yep. Superb, mate.
All right. Right, okay. So we'll move on, but look, obviously it's Valentine's Day. A lot of people, Big Southside and Stevie, they'll be listening live tonight. They'll be whining and dining, the old smoothies, But Valentine's Day isn't a happy day for your support, is it? Jaffa?
No, it's not, Ox. It's a date that's etched in the memories of every Rangers supporter. What happened 11 years ago to the club on Valentine's Day. We all the unravelling that then came afterwards, and the journey that we've all been on together, and the absolute scandal of a lot of it, Ox, that we didn't know what was ahead of us. And I know there's still a lot of wounds within a lot of the Rangers support. I talked to a lot of different individuals for different parts of the support.
I think some of the wounds came out on Sunday again, Jaffa.
Aye, they did, Ox, because let's not be kidding about it. I still maintain this, Ox. Going back to the football on the pitch, we're refereed to a different set of standards. I maintain that. I watch us week in, week out, and I watch a lot of Scottish football. I watch other SPL games. We are ref to a different set of standards. In fact, it has to be said, even in Sunday's commentary, even commentators are joining in on the narrative that gets set about almost asking VAR to go back and check certain incidents, that's getting images that are getting sent back for production staff that are sitting watching a football match. They don't do that with other teams, Ox.
When I say that the wounds were opened up again on Saturday, Billy, what I meant is, people were saying, why should we do it? Why should we even help any team out? And it's an argument because nobody wanted to know us when we were in trouble. And then Thistle came calling when they finished the league early because they get hammered when that happened. So they've seen how corrupt Scottish football is, So they've had their taste of it. However, we know what happened to us was unjust.
That's right, Ox. 110% correct, mate. Both teams have had their medicine going down that road, mate. We took our medicine and some, to put it politely, mate. It's been an incredible journey over the last 11 years, mate, for all the nonsense and the papers and the TV outlets and every man in their dug man wanted to hear a kick at the Rangers, and they kicked us and they kicked us and they better kicked us, mate, and they kicked us again and they kicked us again, and we just kept on rolling our famous red and black socks up, mate, and pulling them up and getting on, mate. And we come back up through all the divisions and we helped to fill Scottish football, the very same Scottish football, mate, that put the boot into us, in my opinion. And we went right up through all the divisions, mate, and we've come right back to the top. And that was something they didn't want to see, and we done it. And fair play to our football club and fair play to every single one of the supporters worldwide, mate, because every single one has all played their bits in getting the great Glasgow Rangers back to where we rightly belong, mate. And that's at the top of the table, top of the pile in Scottish football, mate.
So we can see through the narrative. We've discussed this at length, Jaffa,
Yep.
While you were drinking. What was it, sex on the beach you were drinking or something like that? Anyway.
I've had that in Spain.
I think that was one of the ones you drank. I couldn't believe it. It was embarrassing. It was standing next to Dale Boy.
16, right. Was it 16.90 euros? I think it was it?
No, but we were, mate. It was a lot more dearer than that, mate. We were at the place.
5-star all the way, Billy.
Aye, good, mate, good.
Somebody skipped in. No answer there.
Aye, I did indeed. Aye. Once I saw the things, I wasn't moving, Billy. No chance.
They had to get a council in to get them out.
What a place, I'll tell you. What a place. They serenity pools and everything, Billy.
And what's this I was hearing as well, Jaffa, about the Union Jack budgie smugglers, mate? Is there any truth in that?
No, Billy. No. They were pink. They were bright pink, mate. I've never seen anything like it. Anyway, I digress. Right, okay, so look, we've seen their placements, Jaffa. We've discussed this at length, right? We've seen it today. An ex-striker in another team, I think he believed that originally came from Maryhill. He's in the paper, the whole narrative, the story. He's going on about Alan McGregor, but a wee bit of jostling, a wee bit of fun. He never stopped the ball getting in the net. What did he do? Grow up. Know your narrative. We know your narrative after the game. Turn a positive story that Rangers have shown great sportsmanship. Now, people have their own views in that. They should have done it or no, but the world's saying great sportsmanship, yeah? Turn a positive story, big bad Tillman. And that's what they've come out with an agenda and we can see right through it. In fact, Fox could have wrote the headlines for them because he'd done it right after the show. And it's come out today with Charlie Nicholas. We can see right through it. Don't buy, don't click, and just ignore.
The thing is, though, Ox, it starts, as you're right, and Fox is right as well, it starts immediately after the game, and it'll roll on from yesterday to today, and it'll be one of the other ones. We know them all. I'm not going to mention names because I wouldn't give them the oxygen, to be honest with you. They start and Rangers have done this. They comment more on what we do than what they do in their own team. They're more interested in what happens at Ibrox, and sometimes you can take that as a almost as like a backhanded compliment. But we know their game plan, Ox. It's always to try and make the big bad Rangers out. You know, it was like last week there when Edmondson House was getting promoted all over the media. You know, it was one story after another to try and derail the media narrative. As we've said, Ox, you and me have discussed it. I know we've discussed it with a lot of the other lads on the show and various. We discuss it amongst us as Rangers supporters. We all know what's going on. You know, in one respect, as I said, take it as a compliment because they're talking more about us than what they are about their own club. So,
well, it's a tactic. It's so obvious. It's so transparent. It's unbelievable. I know the politics side of things. You mirror tactics, man, Billy, and getting the ball in the net. Oh, I think Billy's on mute there. But Jaffa, but we can see right through them, mate.
100%, Ox, and listen, you have to be aware of it. And I know we've touched on it throughout the show over the years, and we tend to, you know, we always want to focus more on our team. Of course, we do. That's what Rangers Radio is about, and keeping our fans informed and giving them the information and discussing what's happened on the park. But it's hard to avoid it at times, Ox. It is so difficult to avoid it. The narrative is blaring. You know, it's blaring you down your ears. It's blaring at you in front of your eyes. You can see everything that's going on round about you. And let's not be kidded, Ox. It runs a lot deeper. And that's the bit where I find myself personally, and this is just my viewpoint, I find myself sometimes wondering if it is more sinister than it actually is and then what's going on. You know, is it just down to referees making bad decisions? You know, I spoke to you a couple of weeks ago about the worst game of football I've ever seen in my life. And it was corrupt that day. Kevin Clancy at Parkhead back in 2019 when we beat them 2-1. He tried everything in his book. He gave them a goal that hit the boy's hand to go in. He gave them a penalty. The same incident occurred again about 15 minutes later in their box, and he didn't give a penalty, and the whole game was refereed like that. And there are some referees who I think genuinely, I think they're at it. I really do. I think they're at it.
Well, don't mention referees. His blood pressure will be rising, you know. And you know, but anyway, Billy, I know it's not your bag, mate. Politics to the game. You're better tactics, boy. You get it done, get it the one closer and put it in the net, man.
Aye, that's what football's all about, mate.
These column inches, mate, you know, it's constant, mate. We can see right through them, you know.
Well, listen, Ox, I'll keep my answers short and sweet, mate. All I'm going to say is we live in their heads rent-free, mate. That's the bottom line. We are rent-free in their head.
Well said, mate. Well said. Well said. Right. Okay, there was another story broke today, and it doesn't give me any delight to say it, but Dave King sort of pulled away from Club 1872, and he's a guy that, how do you think the Rangers, how do you think he's going to be looked at in the history of their club? Jaffa?
It's bittersweet, isn't it, Ox? I saw the story break earlier on today. I don't think it's a great surprise because, I can only speak for myself. I'm not a member of 1872. I've never had a great understanding of them. Well, I do understand what they're trying to do, but it doesn't appeal to me. I don't think that's what I want the club to look like, personally. As I said, that's just my own personal viewpoint. Dave King, as I said, it's a bittersweet. I think he's in some ways probably damaging his legacy, Ox, because he was there at the start and, you know, he got rid of the absolute spivs that were involved in the club back in 2016. Can't get great credit for Dave King. He put his money where his mouth was. He bailed us out, and he started the process to where we are today. And for that, I will always be eternally grateful to him. But I don't think the way he's handled his exit out of the club has been particularly great. I don't think what he's doing is the right. He should have sold it. If he doesn't want his shareholding, he didn't want to be chairman. That was voluntary. He didn't want to be chairman any longer. He wanted to move back to South Africa, and he's done that. And if he didn't want to be chairman, we've got another guy who stepped up to be the chairman or current chairman in Douglas Park. Surely the sensible thing to do is just retain an interest, being on the non-exec board. He's obviously got a great business brain. Why can he still not? I understand business relationships break down like all relationships. That's fair enough. But to become almost like every time an AGM comes up, I think he's become a bit of a laughing stock. Because he brings out the same process. I won't be voting for it. I won't be voting for re-election for this one and for that one, and I'm going to remove Douglas Park's son off the board. I'm voting against it. I don't see how that's garnering support and making us stronger, Ox.
Yeah, Billy, you got a view on it? Again, I know it's not your bag, but listen, we'll ask the readers, we'll ask the readers before you come in, Billy. We'll ask the listeners. We're going to open the phone line shortly. We'll ask them their view on the Dave King legacy. We'll also ask them what they think of the journey. It's 11 years now. It seems to have flown by, and where they were when it happened in 2012. But Billy, your views on Dave King?
Well, Ox, obviously I can't speak on different things internally what's happened in the club, mate, but I can only personally thank Dave King for what he did regarding when the Rangers needed him, mate. Obviously he was here before administration, and then he was what happened after administration, mate, and as Jaffa rightly said, mate, he put his money where his mouth is. And he helped the club, obviously, and I would think that he was a brainchild that bringing Steven Gerrard to the club, and that gave us the classy Rangers back, in my opinion, mate, and it got the standards back to where we should be, both on and on the park, mate. So I'd like to thank Dave King for giving us Steven Gerrard. Other than the shares scenario, mate, I can't really comment on it, mate, because I don't know the ins and outs of what's went on and what's been said and what's no been said regarding that and Club 72, mate, type thing. So, other than that, mate, no, Dave King done everything he could possibly to do for the Rangers, mate, and on behalf of myself, I'd like to thank the big man for everything he's done for us.
I like to think that he doesn't tarnish his legacy. I think there's a favourable place for Dave King in our history, Jeff.
Yeah, absolutely, Ox, and incidentally, there's nothing to stop Dave King. He's now come to an impasse. He'd agreed a legal process with Club 1872 to offer his shareholding to them at a particular price, and that's fair enough. That's his right to do that. It's his shareholding. I'm not having an opinion on what he done with Club 1872. I understood what he was trying to achieve, but I don't think the club. I think the position he had contributed to get the club to. I don't think that was where the fan base. Clearly, that's not what the fan base want, Ox. Because if they did want that, there would be thousands of us buying into the whole process and better fan ownership and having a seat on the board. I'm not sure that's where we want to be now. I think we've gone beyond that. But for example, Dave King could easily sort all this, and he could just draw a line under it and just become on a non-exec board basis. He's clearly got what I was going to say there, Rox. He's clearly a highly clever. A businessman. Oh, absolutely. He's got a brain on him like no, and they're the kind of guys we need in the boardroom. They're the kind of guys, that kind of mentality, that stealth mentality, and negotiating and navigating his way through the current process we are. I would much rather have Dave King with me than against me, because I think he's such a clever, shrewd businessman, and I wish him and Douglas Park. If there is an issue there, I don't even know if there is. I'm speculating. I suspect there is, but I wish they could sort out their situation. And move forward and get Dave King back on. He only needs to come over 2 or 3 times a year like he's doing now. He could, technology nowadays allows him to be involved. He could be sitting in board meetings. He could be doing all sorts and contributing to the club.
Yeah, it's interesting. I would say history should look at Dave favourably what he done for us. He was there when we needed him. He was there before to support Murray. He's been about our club for a long time. I think maybe he's back to rank horse and maybe done with the best intentions with Club 1872. Jaffa, I've never liked a model, but that's a whole different debate.
Yep. Yeah.
A whole different debate. And it'll be interesting to see what happens with it going forward. I know that some people want to resurrect it. I think that'll be a hard job now because I think that ship might have sailed, Jaffa.
Yeah, I think so. Similar Ox. I mean, as I said, I've read the prospectus on it. I've read the transcripts, what they've put out there, as to what they were trying to achieve. I understand what they're trying to do, but as I said, I think we've moved on from the fan base and clearly the current directors and investors and everything else in the club. I think the club has moved on from that. And I still think all those guys that are in the background in Club 1872, who are all Rangers men, they're all Bears like the rest of us. There is a place for all these guys, but surely, getting involved in more projects around the club. Like, for example, we've just had, the opening of Edmondson House. There's still tons of development that could take place round about Ibrox Ox. Tons of development, more in community development and encouraging other things going on. I know we've got Rangers Charity, we've got all sorts of different things, and I'm sure the club would embrace that type of involvement. But having a seat on the board and on the steering ship and running the club and, making decisions on investment and stuff like that, should we not leave that to the professionals that are running the club?
Yeah. Right. Drum roll. Right. Just to let you know, Rangers Radio, in conjunction with the Rangers Supporters Erskine Appeal, will be holding a dinner, a speakers' night, and a question and answer with a dance after it on the 25th of March in Ardery Street Halls in Partick. It'll be chaired by Gordon Smith, and the people take the question and answers will be Mark Haitley and Derek Johnson. It'll be a 4-course meal, followed by a bit of entertainment. Jaffa.
Oof. That sounds like a great night, Ox. That sounds like a brilliant night. I can't wait. I'm looking forward to that. Get my name down for a few seats on that one, Ox. That sounds like a brilliant night out.
Anybody who wants to get involved, obviously the tickets will go first come, first served. Obviously the people involved have got tickets, but there is tickets available, and if people want to come, they're in tables of sixes, and the tickets are priced at £40 each, and that's obviously a 4-course meal, your speakers, and some entertainment, and all the money raised on the evening will be going to charity Billy Boy.
Superb, Box. I can't wait, mate. It looks as if it's going to be an absolute spectacular night, mate. 3 club legends. I've never met any of them, and I'm looking forward to meeting them on the night, mate. And I'm looking forward to the 4-course meal and all, mate.
Yeah, you've done it before, Stevie.
Just gives the seating plan so I know where he is, Ox.
You've done it before, Stevie. I believe the club legends are looking forward to meeting you as well, Billy.
Is that right? Oh, well, there you go then, mate. It'd be good to talk football, wouldn't it?
So there we have it. Right, okay. I think we better get these phone lines opened.
Let's get the Bears in, Ox.
Yeah, mate. Go for it, pal.
Let's hear from you.
Why don't you give us a call on 0141 356 1972. It's your show. It's your platform. Let's hear from you.
Yeah, anybody wants to get in touch, contact us, and I'll get the email address while we're chatting so people can contact us. Right, okay, 2012, Jaffa, where were you?
I tell you exactly where I was, Ox. I was in Manchester the night it came on the news. I was in a hotel room in Manchester in 2012. And it came on the news that we'd entered into administration. And I'll never forget it. I'll never, ever forget where I was that night. I broke down in tears, Ox. I couldn't believe it. I sadly lost my father, and not long before it, a few months before it, and it was all going on in the background. And my dad was broken-hearted. He was, I've never seen him look so devastated as he did during that period, those months leading up to that. He couldn't believe what was going on at our club, an institution like our club, and where we'd ended up, and the kind of people we had involved in it. It was unbefitting of our club, Ox, and the kind of standards that we've set, for over 100 coming up now, over 150 years now. But at the time, 140 or 139 years as an institution, it just wasn't. It was heartbreaking, Ox. It truly was heartbreaking, and absolutely panic. I was in panic because I thought we were going to lose our club. I do understand the whole liquidation and receivership process. I know what it means, and I know how the heart of institutions and businesses get ripped out of them, sometimes never to recover again. And it is remarkable that we have recovered today. Only looking back a few months ago, the figures that were produced and where our club are, and that's what I think, for me is unbelievable. It's staggering that we've got back to that in such a short space of time. But that's where I was, Ox, the night that happened.
All right, Billy.
I was. I'll never forget it as well, Ox. I've seen a few things flying about social media, and I'm like, what's going on here? You know what I mean? And then it just started to gather arms and legs, and arms and legs, and arms and legs, and then obviously the announcements came out, mate, and I was actually numb. I could not believe what I was actually hearing there, because you know what social media is like, guys. You know what I mean? There's people can say one thing, and before you know it gets out of hand. But it was absolutely incredible that night, mate. And I was gutted. I was gutted as a blue nose, mate. I was absolutely devastated. I just could not believe what was happening to our football club, mate. But as Jaffa said, mate, we've rode out the storm. We've took our medicine, mate, and it's incredible where we've came from in the last 11 years, right up through the divisions, as I said earlier on, mate. And then obviously the financial side. I mean, the powers that be who we spoke about earlier on in the show, mate, they've had us going into administration 300 and odd for now, or whatever the case may be, mate. We're going out again, we're doing this, we're doing that, you know what I mean? But it just shows you that they couldn't do what they tried to do, mate. And but it was a sad day for Rangers Football Club and our illustrious history, mate. But listen, we're back to where we belong, and that's the bottom line, mate.
Aye, we're the top. We've got the highest coefficient by a distance of any Scottish club at the moment, Jaffa, which is remarkable when you consider what happened.
Yeah, unbelievable, Ox. I mean, the club financially is in a much healthier. We're not back to where we could be, where we probably should be, because we've lost 10 years of trade, Ox, and that does have some kind of damaging effect on us. But the journey back has been spectacular. Where we've got to, and the kind of asset value that we've built back into the club again, and the people we've now got involved, Ox, is for me are befitting of our club and driving our club forward. But you can't. I don't think we can ever be too cautious as a fan base. That should never mind for guys like our age and our age group, but it's for the younger generation that Rangers Football Club and Rangers Football Club as an institution should always be there, because of what it's given me. I can only speak for me, and I know we're all amongst our own folk here, but it means so many different things to so many different people, and love and when you lose people, what it means to you, and going down to Ibrox on a Saturday, and I think of the old guy that was recently sitting next to me was telling me all about all the old. Being in the stadium back in the 60s and 70s and watching all these old players, and some of the guys even we have on the show, the older guys that like Bridge, who rhymes off all the old times, and that can never be forgotten. We can never be too cautious with our club and where we've come from, because they tried to destroy us.
We should always have people involved in our club who are cautious, but that's a whole different debate. Well, I think as fans, when you put your supporters hat on, Billy, things will never happen quick enough. The fabric was broke, we'll have to rip it up and start again. we get embarrassed at times with some of the results on the journey. It was sore. We felt let down, and people were coming in, and just players, management, people involved behind the scenes were just ripping us dry, and it went from bad to worse, if I'm being honest, Billy. And then slowly, along with the King, things started evolving when the three bears came back in, and we slowly got a wee bit of stability back in our club. I don't think we'll ever realise how far we came, and I think it nearly peaked in Seville, Billy. It nearly peaked in Seville.
Oh, mate, that'd have been just the ultimate dream come true, wasn't it? I mean, when we went to Manchester all the years ago, mate, who would have thought only a few years later we'd be getting into administration, mate, and then we'd be going on that journey. And then you had Tom, Dick and Harry coming in, trying to get a piece of us, mate. Everybody, it was like watching vultures hovering round about the top of Ibrox Stadium. Everybody wanted a bit of us, eh? People were coming in.
Known, mate, white and green. That should have told us everything we need to know.
Aye, I know, mate. That's right enough, mate. Eh? Obviously, we took that one in face value, as you say. But listen, mate, it's been one hell of a journey, mate, over the last 11 years. And as you said, mate, Seville would have just been the cherry right on top of the cake, mate. And we were only a lick of paint off of lifting that trophy, mate. And it'd been fabulous, mate. But listen, that's what our club's all about. That's what we're all about, mate. We're all about winning trophies, going on journeys. As Bill Struth said in his statement as well, mate. You know what I mean? So let others come after us. We welcome the chase, mate. And that's what Rangers' football club's all about, mate.
I think we talk about it. We did get caught up as supporters, Jaffa fans, whatever, you know, and we talk about it as if we'd never played a bad game prior to that. We're a football club. We've had bad results, great results, good nights, bad nights, you know. It's all part of the fabric. It gives you your soul as a team, you know. But we have to recognise that we had to wrap everything up, start again, and maybe we're actually ahead of the curve, if the truth be told, Jaffa.
I think in so many aspects, Ox, we absolutely are ahead. If you dot the graph of how we were going to resurrect this institution, you know, and not only that, the expectations of the fan base that we have, and turn that back into you know, all those components or the pillars, as John Bennett talks about when he's at the AGMs, about the team on the park and all the infrastructure off the part that went on. You know, the stadium was left to wreck and ruin. So we are ahead of the curve, Ox. I'm absolutely convinced we're ahead of the curve, and we should look upon that with, I wouldn't say maybe excitement's the wrong word, but we should be excited for where we've got to, so at such an early stage, and what's ahead of us. Because if we can keep these building bricks in place, the ones that we currently have, we've now got a great young manager, a great young coach. I think Michael Beale is going to take us places. I think once he gets 2 or 3 transfer windows under his belt, I think the early signs of the 2 guys that he brought in and the 3rd guy that he was after, I think look good. I think it's strategic signings. I think there's a lot of thought going into the signings, whereas I think we'd lost a wee bit of the direction under Gio and that side of things. And I know you've got to curb that with the fact that we did get to Seville. I'm not unaware of that. But yeah, and off the park, Ox, I think the infrastructure that's getting put back into the club and the financial side off of it, I think are looking really, really good.
Mm-hmm. I've just had a message, don't mention Seville. Somebody keeps greeting every time we mention it. But now you go. I get it. It was emotional. It was emotional before, and it was emotional there, and it was emotional after. But that is what it is. You have to deal with it and moved on. But do you think we're ahead of the curve, Billy?
Absolutely, mate. I definitely think we are, mate. A lot of people say, when you hear people talking, they'll say we need to stop talking about this and talking about that for i.e. where we were. Look, for the argument's point, look where we are and where we've came from, type thing, to where we are now. But I agree with Jaffa in this one, Teox. We're definitely ahead of because you look at there's no many teams. Let's put it this way: many teams out there that you can think of are through the same scenario as Glasgow Rangers and came on this journey in just over a decade, mate. It's absolutely incredible. And we've played four or five seasons in Europe, and to hear a coefficient sitting 29th or 30th, that speaks volumes how far we've actually came, mate. Obviously, we're wanting to win more trophies. We get that, but we have been winning trophies because we've been winning trophies to get up through the leagues. Obviously, you're wanting to win the top league trophies, and obviously Scottish Cups and League Cups and that as well, because that's our bread and butter. That's our domestic trophies that we set out every season to go and win, mate. But listen, it's been incredible, Ox. Absolutely incredible. So definitely, mate. Aye, we are well ahead of schedule, shall we say?
Aye, and I get it when we have a bad result. I mean, when we get beat with St Mirren and St Johnstone once when we won 55, we blew the competitions. We know Stevie G and look back, you would play different teams, and maybe there's a learning curve in there for Michael Beale as well. You know, the St Mirren night that night at their place when they lost the last minute goal, and St Johnstone when the goal was scored, we should win both games. You know, and there's a learning curve in there about winning trophies, Jaffa.
Well, exactly, Ox. And, you know, you hear at the start of the season and throughout the season, you'll hear managers say we want to win every competition we enter. Well, of course, that you know, you're sportsmen at the end of the day. You know, that's what Rangers Football Club's built on. And that's why I got a wee bit agitated when I saw the team last Sunday, Ox, because I think that you know, we've got to treat each competition in its merits. It's a cup competition. That game against Partick Thistle is as important as what the win in the final game is, because you don't win that one, you don't get to the final. So you should be in. And I get, look, we've got a big final coming up in 2 weeks' time. I know managers are juggling a lot of balls, and you know, in there in dressing rooms, they've got all these different players now, and we've got a big squad like every other team. We've brought players in. He wants to keep them fresh. I understand all that, but by the same token, going back to what Billy says at the start, you've surely got to put out your strongest team, Ox. And I agree with your point.
I'm glad you mentioned balls there, Jaffa, because Fox has come in with a question. Here's one because of the date, just to change the mood slightly, because phone up with me, your thoughts on all these stuff, the journey, where you were in 2012, or even Sunday, what's going on, what we're knowing after the fallout for Sunday. But also, here's one for any of our lady listeners that's listening, or maybe some of the guys with the women's team now. Which player would you like to send a Valentine to? There you go.
Oh, mine's as easy.
You're not allowed. You're not allowed near Billy. Yes. But anyway, just to change the mood slightly. But Jeffrey, you're spot on with that. You know, we've made mistakes, and that's maybe if you think back to the games against the two Saints, St Mirren and St Johnstone, Michael Beale was involved. He should have learned from that. Yeah.
100%, Ox. Yeah. And that's why, as I said, I got moderately agitated at the start when I saw the team on Sunday. I'm going, I just don't think that's right. I don't think you should be doing that. I think it's a high risk strategy, and I don't think we need to take that risk. As I said, I know he's trying to juggle, he's trying to give guys game time. I know all that, but that isn't the place to do it, Ox. On your point, you know, getting match fitness in the first team at Ibrox is not. I don't think it's the right place to do it. I think there's other places he can get those guys in and around the first team. I know Hadji's coming back for a long-term injury. I know that every player's got their own individual reasons as to why they should be in the team, but it wasn't the right team for me, Ox, and it could have been costly. That could have worked out really badly.
No, learning curve for me, Billy.
Aye, it is, mate. I think, listen, the gaffers, after the Hearts game, mate, he changed things around as well. And I thought that it was a wee bit naive to say the least, mate, to change it again after coming off the back of that brilliant performance against Hearts. So I went with the same starting 11 again, mate. And as I said earlier on in the show, mate, it's up to other players to come in and try and take the jersey off the players that's playing in the starting 11. It's as simple as that, mate. If it's no broke, you don't try and fix it. But Listen, we got away. I think we got away with one year in the Scottish Cup, mate. To be perfectly honest with you, but we're in the next round of the cup, mate, and that's all that matters, and that's the bottom line. And let's hope the gaffer, which I'm sure he will have, he'll learned his mistake, mate.
Mm-hmm. Right, come and join us. 0141 356 1972. It's Valentine's Day. It's a big day for the Rangers support in my history. Your thoughts are where we are. I'm in your camp, Jaffer. I think we're ahead of the curve in a lot of things. Feel frustrated that we, the semi-final against Aberdeen when we never had a striker. Again, Stevie G playing Alfredo Morelos against Ayr United in the cup. We're actually going to contradict ourselves a wee bit here. Got booked and we missed him for the semi-final where he should be able to play him. Ibrox without him, make sure he was there for the semi-final. That was frustrating. The final we were robbed. When they scored the offside goal, well, to be fair, there was 3 of them offside, not just one. We missed a penalty. We played really well and should have won the game. You think back at the games, the St Johnstone, St Mirren, we know we should have went further and won the 2 trophies that year. We should have been sitting in a different place, but no. And you can only deal with what you've got to. But I think in the big picture, we're ahead of the curve. The little pictures, when they bumps in the road happen, they have been frustrating, Billy.
Aye, listen to Ox, it is what it is, mate. It's all, we look back in these games and we say to yourself, listen, we should have done this, we should have done that, mate. I don't know if it was just down to a mentality thing with it regarding the players, mate. You know what I mean? Or it was an attitude thing. They're maybe saying to themselves, well, we just have to go out and turn up to win these games. But the players must never forget that you've got to earn your right. You've got to earn it to win these football games. And it doesn't matter if it's a bottom of the league clash against whoever or a quarter final of a Scottish Cup, mate. And you've got to be up for it right away, mate. All these games, because every time the Rangers plays, it's a cup final, and that doesn't matter if it's a league game or what it is, mate, or a friendly game, mate, because everybody out there's obviously want to hear a go at the Rangers and try and get your scalp, and that's the mentality we need to get into our head. Every game for us is a cup final and all.
All right, we've enjoyed the old Davy. So I didn't think you'd be in the night, mate. How are we doing, David?
Oh, I am in the night. Did you get my Valentine's Day card?
No, I never did. As much as I like you, mate,
Yeah.
I hope so.
I sent you that in a box of Maltesers.
All right. I'll wait for them in the post, mate. I'll wait for them in the post.
You need to get them delivered. It's a big box. Anyway, it's been good listening to you. We're talking about what happened. That'll always be a sore one. I don't even like when we're talking about it because it hurts too much. Because I remember the day when it did kick off, it was like somebody had just went inside me and pulled my guts out. And it's still, and what really, really hurts. I know this sounds a bit trivial, but when I hear that man came up, a lot of mates will go, hey, how's Sevco, how's Olco? And that's what was really, but apart from the whole scenario where what happened and where it involved, but just to give them that bragging rights to get that on tap, that really hurt me. You know what I'm saying?
They don't exactly know their history of their business, do they? But
No.
they're great at that. I mean, I remember it.
Well,
I was just coming out of school when it happened. What was that, Jaffer?
Primary or secondary?
Oh, secondary, Jaffer, secondary. All right.
Just before the tune comes on, Ox, I've got a wee trivia for you.
All right, David, on you go.
Right, for you and the boys and anybody else that's listening, which is thousands and thousands. Rangers and Shelley have won the most Scottish Cups, correct?
I believe so, aye.
Right. What other Scottish team has won it the most?
I think you have to go to Queen's Park, mate.
Spot on.
Davey, you're going to have to try better than that, mate. You know what
You must be watching the same programme as I had that on.
He's psychic, Davey. He read your mind, mate. I tried that one, I know, mate. It doesn't work.
It wouldn't be hard to read my mind. There's nothing between one ear and the other.
There is Linda. He's going to have to do better than that, Jaffer, isn't he? That was embarrassing.
Hey, David. I mean, it started off well, but I see when you get into the trivia world, you'll need to be good. It needs to be good. They don't call him the quizmaster for nothing. And talking about
I've asked a few people. Yeah, I've asked a few people that, and a lot of them's got it wrong. A lot of them say it's
since it's Valentine's Day, I don't know if you remember a band called Hue and Cry. They had a great wee hit looking for Linda. Do you remember it?
I remember Hue and Cry, but it was no surrender.
Oh dear, Davey, you're a man. I think you're usually fair. You can get emotional at the rest of his bad results and whatever, But are we ahead of the curve, Davey? Considering what we had to deal with?
Yeah, miles and miles. We are where we should be. In fact, we're actually better than where we should be. If that had been any other Scottish club, maybe no man came up. If that had been any other Scottish club in that predicament, you'd probably not hear about them again. So we're the top of the pile here, and that'll never. So as I said before, it's onwards and upwards. It's looking good. We've came back to one of the biggest kicks in the home odds that you could get, and look at us now. You've got to be proud of that, and look at what we're achieving. It's a remarkable. It's a journey. It's a story to tell your grandways about.
I get what you're saying. It'd be interesting to see if I thought I was hoping they would revive for my anniversary to follow the Rangers story and update it, Jaffa. The play.
Aye, I mean that would be fitting, wouldn't it, Ox? That would be a great story to tell. I know there's been the rally around the Rangers and I believe another thing. They're good fun. Yeah, they're not. It's not produced and in depth and actually strategically put together. It would be good to do that, Ox, and I think maybe that would be something again. If the club could, looking at stuff like that, they should certainly be taking counsel from supporters clubs and the RSA and other organisations that are involved with the club and people that they're listening to in fan groups. They should certainly be listening to stuff like that as to what the fans really and how they want to market. Because it is a great story. I agree with Davey. I think it's never mind a Rangers football club recovering from it. There isn't many organisations in this world would recover from what's happened to them. What happened to us? They just wouldn't. There would be nothing left of it. So the fans and everybody involved and all the guys that put their money in, Dave King, like we were chatting about there, never to be forgotten. Ox, not in my eyes.
No, right, okay. If you're interested in going to I don't know if they want a better word for speakers night along with Mark Gately, Derek Johnston, and Gordon Smith, who'll be chairing on the 26th of March in Party Ardor Estate Halls. Contact rangersradio@gmail.com. Yeah, its tables are 6 and it's priced £40 with a 4-course dinner, and the tables are moving quicker than we hoped. Right, okay, we're going to have a tune, so get yourself on mute.
Oh, every other Saturday, my half day up, and it's up to the match I go. Happily we wander down the Copeland Road, me and my wee pal Joe. Oh, we love to see the lassies with the blue scarves on. We love to hear the boys all roar. But I don't have to tell you the best of all, we love to see the Rangers score. Whoa, me, oh, me, oh, me, oh, my. Oh, how we love to hear the cry. We love to see the lassies with the blue scarves on. We love to hear the boys roar. But I don't have to tell you the best of all. We love to see the Rangers score. Oh, we won the Scottish League about 1,000 times. The League Cup is simple too. We gave some exhibitions in the Scottish Cup. We gave a Wembley Wizard too. And when the Glasgow Rangers win the European Cup, when we won they had before, we'll rally round an Ibrox 100,000 strong. We'll give the boys an Ibrox roar. Whoa, me, oh, me, oh, me, oh, my. Oh, how we love to hear the cry. We love to see the lassies with a blue scarf song. We love to hear the boys roar. But I don't have to tell you the best of all. We love to see the Rangers score. Mine. Oh, how we love to hear the cry. We love to see the lassies with a blue scarf on. We love to hear the boys roar. But I don't have to tell you the best of all. We love to see the Rangers score. Oh, me, oh, me, oh, me, oh, my. Oh, how I love to hear the cry. We love to see the lassies with the blue scarves on. We love to hear the boys roar. But I don't have to tell you the best of all. We love to see the Rangers score.
Why don't you give us a call on 0141 356 1972. It's your show, it's your platform. Let's hear from you.
Hey, you enjoy that, Billy boy?
I love a wee Blue Nose tune, mate. Love a wee Blue Nose tune. Love it.
Yeah, can't beat it. Can't beat it. Aye, where were we? Davey, you were on the bell, mate. Oh, he's a wee having some Maltesers, Jaffa.
I think he's does he not suck the chocolate off him and put the honeycomb back?
I don't think he can bite them with their teeth. Anyway, we've been joined by Smurf. Evening, Smurf. How we doing, Mucker?
All right, Ox. Evening, gentlemen. I know, bad. Just touching on, obviously, administration and stuff. I remember a few years ago, Dave King saying there may have been an option, I don't know if that's the right term, to buy Oldco, the holding company, once it went through that process. And then decant Newco. I mean, I don't understand the process. I'm not a businessman, so forgive me if I've got something wrong.
It has been mentioned in the past, Smurf.
And then you decant it back onto the old or whatever, which only is an emotional thing for the fan base. And I'm quite sentimental one like that happen if it was possible. And the other thing is, I would quite like, if it was possible, you know, the guys that.
You going quick? You all right there, Smurf? Are you all right there?
Aye. just thought that maybe there was something we could do with that. You know, the guys that took the Rangers bonds out, if we can.
Oh, I would love the people to get their money back, you know.
Aye, that or even. I think
if you offered them it, mate, I think the vast majority of them would say no, put it in the club, you know.
But I think, you know, what I'm saying is, I think it would be if as a sign of the vitality and the health of the club and where we are since this journey began, we're in a position to.
I think there's a lot of people who ended up back in their own seats, yeah. You know, by design and done that. But I think if you offered them the vast majority, I mean, there's going to be a lot of people no longer ways, you know.
Of course, I get that. You know, it's a motive. I
get what you're saying, mate. That was, you know, like everybody had shares, but the bondholders who put that money in to help build the club debt. You know, it was it was an unfortunate part of the journey we were on, Jaffa.
Yeah, Smurf. I you know, I actually I kind of forgotten a wee bit about that. That actually, when Dave King said that about the old co, and again, without knowing the legals and what it would actually entail, you know, if there's any liability still lying there. But I do understand the thinking behind it. You know, it's sentimental and it's probably more than that, to be honest with you. You know, there's almost a need there and a want to do it for the right reasons, for the support. The bondholders, I agree, Smurf, if there was a mechanism or a way we could do that, again, that's all the kind of stuff for me, Smurf. That's the kind of stuff that Club 1872 should be working on. That's the kind of messages that should be getting, that should be getting, you know, consulted with the fans and the bondholders, and if that's something they wanted to happen. And
you just stole my thunder there.
Find out the cost about it, Smurf. Find out what it actually entails, what it entails, what would need to be done, and then we can go back to the board and say, look, can we do this? Can we earmark a time frame for it? If it's not 223, can we do it in 225? Can we have a share issue? You know, there's a multitude of ways you could handle stuff like that to give the guys and the girls their money back.
I'll say it again, mate. I would say the vast majority of people, when they take their money back.
Probably, obviously, probably.
But I think it's an interesting point that you make that what's going forward. What's what's the function of Club 1872? And for me, it's a conduit between us and the board for things like that. You know, these are sort of emotional, sentimental, emotive wrongs that need righted, and you know, there's absolutely a place for them to take things like this on, and in 100 years from now, it's still something that should be looked at. You know, well, it won't be relevant then, obviously, but what I'm saying is that we absolutely should be any you know, the people, as Ox said, that won't be here now, but for people that are, they should at least have the opportunity to be offered that seat back. You know, in terms of the ownership of it or whatever it was that they held, I think.
It'd be difficult if somebody else knew it's their seat and they've had it for the last 10 years. I get all that, I understand that, but it'd be something that I would like to do if it was possible. But I'll say it again, I think the vast majority of people, it wouldn't be the finance was put in, and it was you know, because they loved the club, and I think you would find that they would say it's just something that happened, and they're quite happy if the club would recognise that what they've done in the journey or the part of the fabric of the club. You know,
what would like to say?
Know that I'm only speaking off the cuff stuff, yeah.
But what I was going to say was, Ox, is another. I don't want to go down a rabbit hole with this, so please forgive me. I don't want to start but if that's just unrealistic, we do have MyGers, and if we could have a mechanism or whatever where you can give a guy that lost that stuff a gold My Gears membership or a fucking platinum one or whatever it is. It's complicated. You get.
There's no a day goes by somebody doesn't mention My Gears to me. I mean,
but it's not the My Gears itself. But what I'm saying is, if there's an inventory of the people that had those bonds, if you could allocate them X amount of My Gears, credits or whatever you want to call them, then maybe that's something that should be looked at. But I do think these people need to be recognised, and because they are part of the fabric of the stadium, because it was their money that built that club deck.
I get it, mate. I get it. It was because of the deal they got. The deal they put the money in, and it was something that was. They were victims of the circumstances at the time.
Aye.
Smurf. Yeah, on you go, Jaffa. On you go, Jaffa.
Sorry, Ox. Smurf, can I ask you just a quick question, Smurf? Do you? I don't know the answer to this. That's why I'm asking you. Do you recall what the bond value was? Do you have any memory of that?
I wouldn't have a clue. I never had a Rangers bond. I know my uncle did, but I don't know.
Big Stevie's were bond expert.
I wouldn't have a clue.
It's even like things like we've been talking recently about the development of the stadium. One of the things that I watch a lot of Dutch football. And there's a whole host of Dutch clubs with their stadiums. They've got these roofs on them. And I see if we're not going to develop Ibrox, is there any way that we could, if we're not going to develop it, is it in the sense that we're not going to make it bigger, or it's the engineering doesn't allow us to do it? I know this is always a subject that we always find quite good to talk about, and a lot of the fans are interested in it. See, if we're not going to do that, I mean, would it be possible to put a cantilever roof on it, or a way that they can close it over so that we can make the experience better for the fans, and especially in the winter months in the climate that we live in? And that's another thing that I've been thinking about. The role of Club 1872, or what their activity is with the club and how they move forward.
I think anything that improves the you've got to get the base right. You've got the business. Parallel to that, you've got to get the business right, and then you can strategically look to move forward. And it might be that you have to pull bits of the stadium down and start again. Obviously, the problem we've got is that the front of the house is a listed building, and that gives you big pluses because that's our history and our heritage. But also, when it comes to if you've got to do any building work, it becomes a hindrance, Jaffa,
Yeah, of course. And I think we remember that when the club deck was actually built, Ox, just how complex and, actually getting that planning process approved was, I remember it. I remember it took an enormous amount of time. And as you said, in one hand, it's a great thing because obviously, the actual design and the structure of the building and driving down Edwardson Drive, I think we all, at different times of the day, we all get that kind of warm, fuzzy feeling in our stomachs where we all love looking up at the front of the building and the front of Ibrox, and that's who we are. But it would be great, Ox, if we could ever do and expand anything like that, and engineering, techniques, and we were over in Portugal last year at Braga Stadium, and I know it was all open and stuff like that, but the two stands were a cantilever. They were holding each other up, and I'm sure with modern engineering techniques and stuff, there's ways and means they can do things. And not every stadium in Holland, incidentally, has been newly built, that's had a roof on it. And I think they've done one in Germany where it was an old stadium where they put or an older stadium. I don't mean as old as ours, but it was older, and they put a roof on it. I just think if that would be something that would really move Ibrox forward into the.
I agree.
My thoughts on that are that if we were going to put cantilever stands on, they would obviously go on the three newer stands, but they would need to have an extra tier incorporated into it that would maybe over the years offset the cost of the roof. I'd like to see the east and west enclosure return back to safe standing, or put to safe standing, back to a sort of standing experience, and and maybe because it's an old building, so if you don't have enough footfall and human traffic going through it, and the building's not living, then it's going to decay. And if you have too much, it's going to decay. So you need to get that balance right. But the club deck's new, and the tier before that, it's all seated. All that could remain the same. Maybe you could even upgrade the seating, and have that as a premium. The experience that you're in the Bill Struth main stand.
It's some of the dealer tickets in the stadium, mate,
Aye, and then maybe if we could have to keep the numbers up, make that the top tier, the club deck, and the middle tier of the main stand more premium seating, better seats. You're going to have fewer, and offset that with having safe standing. And
remember the safe standing. You don't get any more people in.
Do you know?
No.
No, I never knew that. Nah, well, I'm stand corrected. Aye.
Every day's a school day. Get Davey to ask you questions. He's good with the trivia. Davey.
Dear me.
Are you there, Davey?
No, he's only about laughing at me.
I'm just always worried he's got one of the Maltesers stuck somewhere he shouldn't have, Billy. But the fan day experience is something gone forward, and that's something we've talked about often on the show. People aren't dry in this day and age. It's not right, Billy, is it?
That's not. Sorry, Ox, I never caught that, mate. The tail end of that, buddy. I don't know what happened there.
The match day experience, people should be in. Going forward, we can't do it all at once, but they should be in, and they should be sitting in somewhere dry in the modern age. Yeah?
Oh, absolutely, Ox. You know what I mean? Obviously, you got to learn to crawl before you can walk, mate. But you're 100% correct, mate. The match day experience at Rangers is you want to go there, take your kids and go with your family or whatever the case may be, and you want to make it a proper day out, and then go and sit down in a cracking environment and enjoying the football, mate, and a cracking stadium, mate. Listen, I'm all for putting an extension on to how they could possibly do it. I mean, obviously that's out with our control, mate, but I'd like to see the capacity going up, I don't know, tenfold, maybe 5,000-10,000 on top of what we've already got in New York's. I'm sure it could be done. What the financial costs and hurdles along.
There's going to be a business case for it, mate.
Aye.
It's going to make business. That comes down to pure. It's going to make business sense, Jeff, for it.
Aye, it's an economic equation. These things. I know it was spoke about in the last two AGMs. It's been spoken about going down. Going up the way is not the design of the stadiums and the foundation. I think it is the three new stands. I don't think would allow any more tiers to go on top. It would probably mean taking them down and rebuilding, and I don't know if I just don't think that economically would work out for us. I can't see us, getting £200 or £300 million of funding. I know you can sell rights off and stuff like that over a long period of time. I know clubs in England have done it, but their income streams are much higher than what ours is. There's a lot. I think the one that they're looking at, as far as I believe, or they're evaluating, is the potential to go down the way, which would add not a huge amount. I think it's maybe 3,000, 4,000 is the numbers they're thinking about. I always think the roof is the one for me. I think it would. I mean, we've always been the club that set the standards, and I think it would set the standard in Scottish football, and it would project us forward into the next century. And I think if they got a roof on the stadium, and I think engineering wise that's something that probably could be done, having looked at other stadiums around Europe, with technology and stuff like that, lightweight materials. I think that would be something that would be, I think the fan experience would be brilliant for that, and getting kids into the stadium.
Because you've always got to look at what you're doing, because society's moving on. What people put up with back a generation or two ago, they wouldn't have put up with now, and going forward, things are going to be the same stuff.
100%. It's kids are fickle now. It's a different world that we live in. one I quite understand anymore. But no, you're right. You know, you think of safeguarding and things like that. I mean, there's a whole myriad of considerations. You know, nobody's running about Red Ash Parks now with no skin in their legs anymore. You know, it's things have changed.
Nobody's playing football anymore.
No, I know, because you can't afford to. You want to play a game of football, you go to shell out, and it's things have changed radically, and in some ways, absolutely for the better, and in other ways, it's maybe not so good. But standards are certain standards are expected. What I would like to see with the roofs is something that you know, the shadows that are cast on the park. That could somehow be eliminated with the use of materials and different materials and stuff in the future. But again,
you mean the 2 games a season when the sun shines?
They too. Maybe they too. Do you know what? It brings you onto? It brings you onto a problem, a perennial problem that needs looked at. Is how do we take not just a club forward, but Scottish football forward? You know, do we go back? Do we go to summer football?
That's a whole show on its own. I mean, personally, I'd like to rip up the league format. I think it stinks. 4 times a season. I know we play them, but it just doesn't work. It's became stale. Anyway, talking about stale, I think Davey's back with Davey.
Hi, I'm back. I was talking to myself there. I forgot to take my mute off.
Oh, you made some great points, Jaffa. Take Davey's points.
That's right. No, but what I was trying to say was, I know we're talking about the stadium and all that, and it's hypothetical, really. Our main concern should be getting a winning team out on the park. That's the rest will take care of itself. You put the goods onto that park. Get us a good team again, which we're getting to, and then we can take the buildings and all that, because it's at the moment we need to get it on the park and start getting back to where we should be winning things, and then we can deal with the rest as we go along.
I think the trouble is, mate, if you leave one behind, I think the 2 of them run in parallel, if you're being honest, Jaffa.
Exactly my point, Davey. That was where I was going. You know, you can never, you know, the budget for the manager's always got to be there. It's got to be absolutely pushed to the limit every transfer window that comes round. You know, next summer's no different for what's going to happen next January coming, the next one. You know, I think you're right, but I agree with Oxy's point. I think all of the stuff, all the infrastructural stuff, all runs together. I mean, we've just built New Edmondson House. The museum's getting ready to open up. You know, there's a lot of investment going into that. The club like any board of directors, that's their duty. Their duty of care is to maintain the actual stability of the club and push it forward and take it forward. And I think developing the stadium, Davey, I mean, I know they're doing all the toilets as the next thing. I know they're doing a lot of the disabled toilets, and now they've just committed a whole chunk of money to that. And then I think it's the rest of the stadium, the toilets moving around the stands, which I think we would all agree they need a huge amount of upgrading and ripped up and started again. That costs money. But I think the bigger projects around the stadium is the kind of stuff where I was going back to my point. For me, that's the kind of stuff that the 1872 or whatever format that fan group's in. And if that fan group, personally, for me, was that if that was their route, and that was their vocal point within the club, I would invest in Club 1872, and I would put my money into it. And I think I'm sure a lot of fans feel the same way about stuff like that.
I just come in a wee minute. I think that it'd be nice if we could get maybe a hotel, a decent hotel up and running.
You're not going to say potpourri for the toilet there, Smurf?
No. but what I will say is,
a good bog roll.
Incremental. Tracing paper for the school. No. See the incremental sort of upgrades that we're making, you know, dining kiosks, toilets, etc., right? you'll get to, eventually it becomes a fourth road bridge. You know, it just becomes a hopeless task, a thankless task. And these 3 new stands in particular have got a shelf life, I feel. And I think at some point a line in the sand needs to be drawn, and there needs to be a plan that's vocalised, it's communicated to Rangers fans, so that we can, like we had the old pools or whatever, come up with a strategy of getting money together that gets into a fund, so that in the future, when that day comes where they've got to, rethink about a rebuild, we've got X amount of money already in the pot. I think the future rebuild and the conversations about it and the funding of it, and I think that's got to start now.
I think once you get the business back and your accounts are consistently good, the strategy for going forward should go hand in glove with what you're doing now, what you're doing tomorrow. You know, that's sensible business. But you're not alone in the hotel. Big Stevie, for instance, has talked fondly about the school across the road. But maybe if we had no love for the Commonwealth, and maybe if we had no love for our magistrates left us, maybe if we had an event in the stadium, we'd get everything paid for, and it'd be quite simple, Billy.
That's absolutely right, mate. You're bang right on the money with that statement, mate. Oh, Smurf, that's a great shout, mate. I think we should start to think about that, because, as you say, regarding the structure of the 3 stands and that, mate, that's a great shout. Rangers should be thinking about putting £2 or £3 together away for a rainy day, mate. So when that day does come, you're entirely correct there, mate, that we've got money there, then we don't have to go back the way. That money's sitting there, type thing. But listen, that's up to the board. I'm sure they'll be sitting thinking along the lines as well, mate. But it's a brilliant shout. But Ox, regarding that other scenario, mate, aye, you're bang on, mate. It's obviously, how can we put it, I wouldn't say kicked with the wrong foot, but that's me putting it politely, mate.
Maybe we had one event, and we had, I think we hosted 350,000 people. The stadium, and obviously Hampden Park did the main thing, the athletics, and never get anything done. It's strange. Call me, you know. But maybe I've
coincidence.
Coincidence. That's the word I was looking for.
Just a coincidence.
Mm-hmm.
Just like Kevin Clancy, just a coincidence, just one of the coincidences.
And just like Charlie Nicholas telling us, and then Tam McManus and guys like that telling us what we should think about all the players and all that. They've got a great interest in the club. Anyway, I think we've been joined by Big Al. How are we doing, big man?
Hi, I'm fine. Good. How are you? Excellent discussion. Excellent discussion. Is that you? Do you suck the chocolate off your Maltesers, aye?
David does, mate. David does.
Does it? Aye. And what are they, Smackos you eating dog treats? Or no? Is that Smackos you eat?
No. Come on, Alan. Come on. You sell them in Australia. Oh, Wackos.
Oh, Wackos. I thought you were eating dog treats, man.
I sell like more beer. I sell like more beer every week.
The Wackos, the other Wackos, aren't they? What was I going to say? Look, development in the stadium, I don't know if it's financially viable to put another 10,000 on. I don't know if there's an uptake of fans. There would be in the big games and things like that, but I think if you could fill that. But I just think the redevelopment in the stadium, if you fill the 2 corners in, perfect. And maybe have the standing area and the 2 enclosures, perfect. I think that would be good. And I think it was Smurf that came up with a good idea. Put a clear roof on it so the sunlight comes in, so you get a bit of sun on your neck when you're watching the games. It's important to have a good fan experience at any sporting event. Upgrade the food stalls. That would make people a lot happier. Do the toilets up. You know what I mean? I think that you put a smile on your face, and then proper investment on the pitch, and I think all our troubles go away. That's it.
Right.
I mean, that's very, very simple.
Aye, I mean, I know you're on projects and that, Alan. There is similarities, you know, but you obviously, because it's sport, your business planning, your income and your outgoings, you can't match them perfectly.
No.
You know.
But you can engineer, if you've got the will, you can engineer anything. That's not a problem. But you have to have the financial backing, and that's where I think that there would be an issue. But like you're all saying, the bond investments, every fan that's wanting to invest, as long as you up at 100 quid in, it gets ring fenced. It's for the development of the stadium. You know what I mean? Things like that.
One at a time.
Carry on. No, carry on. So
what I was going to say was always that, you know how Hearts, they've got that foundation of Hearts, and it's they're 1873. I think it's £18.73 a month, and they've got about, I don't know, I think somebody will contradict me, I'm sure. I think it's about 8,000 fans there's an uptake of about 8,000 fans, and so and that's just going in constantly, and so I think if you were to look at Club 1872 and their idea, you know, sort of assuming the chair of King Solomon.
I know, but I think you would get rid of the name 1872. I think that's
altogether. How many? What my point is, see if we were to have a similar scheme, how many fans would uptake £18.72 a month perpetually?
Remember,
I think one-off payments would be a better way to go. Just as personal, I think if you say
remember, Smurf, that people. I mean, remember where my J's money goes to. The my J's money goes, whether you like it or no. The whole ticket debate is a different debate. But everybody who's a my J's member, that money goes straight to the first team budget. And people bulk at that, and that's what not even £1 a week, Jaffa.
I know, but I think maybe partly the way they bulk it at Ox, I think it's because it's linked to the managers is linked to the system where it's an award scheme, isn't it? So depending how far up you are the food chain, depends what tickets you get, and I think that's what seems to cheese a lot of fans off with the managers. If you designed it slightly differently, like Al was saying, and it was a one-off payment, or as Smurf was saying, it was we were all asked to contribute, and I've heard Southside talk about this as well, about if we all just stuck a £5 a week, a £5 a month, beg your pardon, a £5 a month, all the Rangers supporters, the majority of us wouldn't even blink at a £5 a month. You can hardly get a coffee now for a £5, never mind a £5 a month. And we were sticking that, 60,000 of us. You know, if we were all just drop shit in for a £5 a month, 60,000, 100,000 of us. There was 100,000 of us in Seville. You know, there was over 250,000 of us in Manchester. I'm not saying you'll get every one of them. And then you look at even take a stage further. Look at the season tickets.
Just as a message, you want this, that, and the other. You want a new roof. Stands broke down. How are we going to deal with this? Park.
Cash some of his bonds. Get a bit of cash at the cash line. Just do it. Call it the park stands or whatever. I mean, there's another thing you were just I just recall, but you were speaking earlier about Dave King. I mean, it wasn't that long ago there was people on here asking for a Dave King walk or something. You know what I mean?
I would still have that out personally.
Aye.
King's Highway.
The King's Highway, whatever it was.
That's fantastic.
I still think there's a place for Dave King, and obviously.
Oh, definitely, definitely.
He's a fabric of our club and was important in our history, and so is the people coming behind him. You know.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, they have everyone in the field anyway.
Whoa, one at a time.
Give him a treat to be quiet.
Yeah, and you.
Him a smackle.
It's my turn.
Or a smack.
One at a time.
It's silly.
Right, Billy, in you come, mate.
Aye, mate, I was just thinking there regarding the season ticket scenario. I know we've got there is a waiting list for guys here. I mean, one of my family members, mate, he's been waiting on the list for 3 years, and I'm sure there'll be other Rangers supporters out there that are on the waiting list as well for season tickets now. In my opinion, mate, that's money sitting there. I mean, that's Rangers supporters that's want to give their money to Rangers. You know, I mean, that's money sitting in a pot that Rangers could have that could generate more money, mate. So, I mean, obviously I didn't know the ins and outs of the structure of putting seats here and whatever road that goes down, mate. But surely, if there are season ticket issue there, mate, you get rid of these season tickets, it generates more money, and that's money that the club didn't have.
No, but it's risk and reward, mate. I mean, that project might cost you 50 million. So it puts 10,000 on the capacity. So let's say these seats average, but £500 a seat by the time you take kids and OAPs discretions, Jaffa. Is that fair? Yeah.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah, you know, so it takes you a long time to get your 50 million, Billy.
Mm-hmm. No, I get that, but it's just, I mean, for talking to one of my as I said, one of my family members, just to, for example, take, mate, he goes week in, week out, and he hardly misses a game, mate. You know what I mean? And he's still sitting there tucked away waiting for a season ticket. You know what I mean? I think it's daft, eh?
Aye, I know. I don't know how you solve that one, because obviously people, their family tickets and all, you know, people have got, they're involved with their families and pass them on, etc. You know, so they don't always come up for offer for people, you know. But I get you, and I do think we might have to look at the capacity of the stadium, but we've got to get it right, Jaffa.
Oh, absolutely, Ox. I mean, just doing that quick sum, you know, the risk and reward, the 10,000 capacity, and it's £500 average price over that. That's £5 million a year. I mean, a commercial mortgage over a 10-year period, that's 50 million, and I'm sure there's enough, you know, there's enough brains in the club currently, and I mean, and I do know Douglas Park's business here. Everything that Dougie Park's business has touched, and everywhere he operates a business, he's very much into developing round about that, and he's been highly successful at that, building his business on bricks and mortar. And it's of no surprise to me that New Edmiston House has already been done. That's got Douglas Park's DNA. That's what he's always done with his businesses, and I can confidently say that. And you know, planning for the future and strategic planning. And I've got no doubt that all that stuff will definitely be on the table. It would just be nice if, you know, listen, we're talking about where we've come from earlier on in the journey where we've come from. You know, we've got to be careful we don't get too ahead of ourselves, and everything's got to be done, you know, strategically, and it's got to be costed out and economically. But when you do simple sums like that of 10,000 fans onto the capacity, £500, that's £5 million a year. 10 years in that's 50 million. You know, you would need to cost all of that out, but there's huge sums of capital to be gained there. It's just how and what projects you choose, and choosing the correct battles, isn't it, at the right time? That's always the strategy. You've got to get that right.
Aye, I mean, obviously it's not just the season tickets, Billy, as well. If you get the average spend, you know, it's all about the average spend. That's what they'll be looking about. And that's what the Edmiston House will be doing, the new sports bar that comes in, and whatever else, other projects we do around the stadium, because they're talking about when people go, they want the £1 off you.
Aye, Ox. I mean, I think that they were talking about the Edmiston House build with something that's got to generate maybe around about £1 million a year. That's fantastic as well, mate. And then when you look at that over a period of time, that's going to generate money. I'm just trying to, you know what I mean? Obviously, we can only speculate different things and think of ideas that we want today to see our club move forward. You know, Ox, so I mean, that's a good thing that we've already got up and running, our Edmiston House, mate, and it's obviously got to generate money for the club, which has always got to be a good thing. You know what I mean? But it's a hard one, like, you know. But I just feel, I really feel for the supporters that's been on waiting lists and that, and they're champing at the bit to go and give their money to Rangers. And I feel as if between the supporters like that on the waiting list and Rangers itself, both parties are caught between a rock and a hard place.
Aye. Because we'll put it this way: Ibrox wasn't full on Saturday, was it? Sunday, David, wasn't full.
Well, that was just because it was a Harry Rags, wasn't it? But I mean, that turned into some game, by the way, as we've discussed. I still think we're speculating too much about what we're improving here and improving there. We've got to improve that team on the park. That's my concern. Get that win on the park. You win off the park.
If you know learned anything, I know you're not the brightest, mate, but if you don't have the revenue, if you don't have the revenue coming in for all these other side things now, you'll not be able to improve the team on the park.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
With a 40-watt bulb.
You know, Pal, I'll run him by the story about the chicken and the egg. See if you can explain it to
He's the only boy I know that eats beef flavoured Maltesers.
I love you and all. Right. I'll
sorry, I've got proper Doug biscuits.
Davey, you're right.
Maybe Maltesers are safe for Dougs.
The team on the park.
Do you think?
Wait a minute. One at a time, Davey. Wait till you hear your name. It's no difficult. Write it on your own if you look great.
That wasn't funny.
Right. You're right. The team on the park. The team on your park is important to the revenue streams. You're right.
Correct.
But the other things are important to maximise the blue pound that goes towards the club. Davey, and you come.
Yes. Totally agree with you, 100%. But people are not going to go and watch Mins. You can have all the facilities are great. If you're not putting what on the park is what you're watching, and you know just like everybody else here, we've not been that broad the last few seasons. People will put up with that if you don't put the product on the park.
I don't know, mate. I went to watch James Martin and he done mince. There was thousands there. Thousands watched them. Yeah, but no, it's a chicken and the egg. You have to get paid for it, Jaffa. It's hard, mate, because you can't plan on a football park business-wise. Can you one bad result and it all goes pear-shaped?
Well, I mean, look, I think we started the night talking about the journey we were on and stuff like that. The club development off the park is just as important as it is on the park, Davey. I don't think you can ever underestimate that. That's just a fact. You know, you've got to keep investing in the playing squad. Players will move on. We'll sell players. But you're right. Winning trophies is what Rangers Football Club is all about. But we still need to keep the customers happy, and we need to develop the stadium. I think we all know that the stadium's starting to getting back to where it should be. There's still a lot of work to do. The toilets are needing done, but they could do the roof. They said they're doing the disabled area at the stadium. They've just done Edmondson House, but there's still tons of development that could take place round about Ibrox and round about the park, and doing it up and making it a modern sporting facility. I mean, I was on the other end of the world and I watch sporting events in Australia, and you see some of the stadiums that these guys are producing and the experience. I've been to sporting events in the States and the razzmatazz that goes with it, and the off-the-field stuff, Davey, and the amount of money that's generating for these clubs and these organisations, the NFLs, and you saw what happened the other night there at Super Bowl, just the kind of money that goes hand in hand with that. And there's no reason why Rangers couldn't aspire to stuff like that. Our brand is just as strong in this part of the world as their brands are over there. And that's my main point, what I'm saying. I think there's still huge scope for developing Rangers as a brand and developing the club.
Can I just come in on that?
No, man, it's not. I just want to go with one point.
Okay.
I'll bring in a second. David, just remember, if we hadn't got the revenue to fix the roof, they'd be sitting in the stands and then you've not got that money. That's important.
Yeah, I know that, but you can't compare Scottish football to all these other countries. Come on, get a grip.
Oh, it's colder. it's colder.
I know that's what Al says about the roof. I agreed with Al about the roof, the clear roof, but I didn't get about when the sun was coming through.
You screw sunbeds to it.
You need to do something, because I don't know where part of Australia you're, but it's not here now.
No, I understand. Look, can I just say something? Because I need to go.
Balloon's going above you.
I'm laughing when you say that, because we're doing a magnetite project, and all that's doing is sending iron ore to China so they can build the warships. Unbelievable. And it's on the news here that we're not prepared for war. How's about we keep the magnetite and build our own warships? Anyway, that's for another story. What was I going to say? I think Davey's right as well. If the product on the park, it does take your mind off a lot of things. When I was going to the football, through the 9 in a row, I can't remember being 5-star food and the toilet smelling of roses. But it was compensated for. We were winning trophies, and I was watching good football.
The stadium was ahead of its time at that time.
Oh yeah, I understand that. Look, we've still got a class stadium. We can shine up a few things and make it a wee bit better. But I'm just saying, I agree with Davey. I mean, if we've got a team on the park that's consistently winning league titles and trophies, it takes your mind off all the other things. And I think the business side of a football club it's kept me light over maybe say the last 10 years, I feel like. It's not a thing I ever thought about 10 years ago. I just want my team to be playing well. I want good, solid professionals playing for my team. I want to be entertained on the park. And if I have to eat a Mankey burger, I'll eat a Mankey burger. But it's not the be all and end all. Like the success on the park, I think, then breeds success. Then you can get better sponsors and things like that. Because you look at the Rangers website now. I mean, we've got how many associated partners have we got? How much do they actually bring to the club? You know what I'm saying? Because there's a load up. Anyway, look, wonderful show. I need I've got a few things to do, but right, excellent chat, man. Davey, you keep on the beefy bakes, all right?
I will do. And by the way, it's pissing down here.
Is that?
David, you watch your language. People don't want to hear that.
You're very eloquent, this. You're very eloquent, man. I wouldn't like that.
You're not to say to Davey there, don't let these young pups, mate, start slapping me about there. Take me get the bother boots on and kick a couple of asses on that programme.
Well said, goodbye. Thanks, folks. You're my hero.
Who woke him up? Who woke him up?
Because he thought it was going to be a bit aggro. You know what he's like. Bob thinks it's 1974.
Oh, mate, you'll be digging out that white safari jacket. Anyway.
Safari jacket.
Let me see it again. White leather safari jacket.
Oh, yeah.
Bring it on, boys. Bring it on.
Was it no leather?
It was white leather, mate. White leather. And if you want to see it, if you look for Crime Watch 1973, you'll spot it. Right. In you come, Smith. You wanted to make a point.
Aye, my wee point was that the clubs get checks and balances. We see what's corporately right. And we know we need to develop, but there's also a community aspect to this. You know, Ibrox, Greater Govan, whatever. And I think I'm laughing at this, but Glasgow City Council need to get their finger out and all. Right? I mean, why is the Ibrox? I can't. It's a serious point, but I know you crack your jokes. I know that. I get it. But the Ibrox train station, the old Ibrox train station, you know, that's been mooted as something that could be rekindled.
You telling me to build a train link direct from Ibrox, Glasgow Central, Ibrox, and then the airport would be a good idea in this modern world?
I'm saying it would be and it's not even a good idea. It's an obvious idea. And,
it's too much like common sense. Anyway, maybe
too much like common sense.
Maybe one night we'll do a politics show. Maybe at a different time. That'll be a whole different debate, Jaffa, won't it?
Oh, absolutely. They can't even put a big wheel up in George Square, never mind put a train station in. Infrastructure. I know all that stuff, Smurf. When you start to sit down and you with your notepad and you start listing things that could be done round about the Greater Govan area, and at the end of the day, we Rangers are part of the Govan fabric. We have been for so many years and will continue to be. And I do like your point about the responsibility factor. Then it is a responsibility. It's a responsibility on all of us. Every single one of us. It doesn't matter whether you're in the boardroom or whether you're sitting in your seat in the Cobblin Road. It doesn't matter. We're all in it together. We're all part of it. We're all part of the Rangers Football Club, and we've all got a responsibility to leave Rangers in a better place the way we found it. And I don't think that is any stronger a point than what we've all experienced in the past 11 years. That we can, I think what we're all echoing here is the safeguarding of our football club and the institution that it is, and making sure that it's in a better footing than what it was currently in at this moment in time. And if that takes the next 20 years of development, then so be it. Then that's we're all in for that, aren't we? We're all buy up to it, whether you're a season ticket holder or whether you buy the gear, you buy the tarps or you buy the stuff for your grandkids, or whatever it is, you go on the tours or you go down to Edmondson House and you buy a coffee. Now, it doesn't matter. You're still a Rangers supporter and you're still putting your money into the club.
Listen, David, we're getting near the end of the show. I just want to say, if I don't speak to you before your birthday, you have a good birthday, mate, right? Oh, we lost him. Anyway, I hate when he goes silent. I worry about him. Anyway,
no, I'm here. I'm accidentally touched the mute button.
I thought you were way back to your Corsophicus.
Are you trying to turn into a bridge? Right, okay, we've reached that time in the evening.
Yeah.
All right, last word for your good self, Smurf.
I've enjoyed the show tonight. I just think that we need. I hope the powers that be or the corridors of power at Ibrox that they're abreast. I think this is an echo chamber for the fans, and I hope they're abreast of it and they've got their fingers on the pulse. That's my last word.
Davey.
Yes, it's always a pleasure to get on the show, and it's my best part of my day because it's the best show in town. And God bless the Glasgow Rangers, and good night, folks.
God bless you as well, David. We do love you. we just hide it well, Billy.
No, listen, old Davey's he's different class, mate. It's an absolute pleasure to hear all Rangers supporters like the good man coming on the show and talking about the Rangers, mate. And it's great to hear guys like Smurf as well, mate, coming on and talking about their great thoughts and what they'd like to do for the Rangers, mate. And once again, Ox, listen, thanks very much for asking us on tonight, mate. It's been an absolute pleasure once again. Fantastic show, some superb points, mate. Brilliant points. And it was brilliant being on with my brother, my mucker, your Jaffa boy.
Jaffa.
Yes, Billy, thanks for those kind words, pal. It's always great being on Rangers Radio. I love the chat, the characters that come on it. It's brilliant, Ox. Thanks for having me on, pal.
From budgie smugglers to roofs on Ibrox to, I don't know, you don't know where it's going to take you, do you, really? Listen, can I thank Smurf, Big Al and Davey for joining us here in Rangers Radio, Jaffa and Billy for doing the show, everybody for listening. I hope everybody's a great evening tonight, if you know what I mean. Thanks for listening. We'll be back tomorrow night between 8 and 10 talking about all things Rangers. And we might be joined by Phil and Grant. Take it away, old school boy.
I've even heard the underlings the best they've ever seen. The Manchester United
guns on your front door.